What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It has been about 3 months since my last video upload. It's been winter here in Wisconsin. It was a mild winter. We got a decent amount of snow, but it only lasted for so long before it would melt, and then we'd get more snow, and then it would melt. The salt has been absurd. They've used more salt than ever. But today is March 30th. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We are getting to what we hope is the end of winter. Now, we're not naive because we're due for at least one more snowfall in April, maybe two. But got some exciting things to update you on. The MR2 is here in the garage, and you'll notice the hardtop is on, which is a good sign. I've actually been driving this car the last week. The rain that we've had over the last couple weeks has taken the salt away. So I've been getting some reps driving the car. It's felt amazing after not driving it for 3-ish months. Just feels good to be back behind the wheel. However, the purpose of this video is to just update you on some of the things I did this winter. She got a little bit of love and some upgrades. And so I wanted to share that with you and go from there. So I'll stop yapping and we'll jump right in. So the first update that I am most excited about is that she got some upgraded front and rear sway bars. Now, there's no real good way to show you footage of the sway bars installed, but I have some photos that I will overlay this video. I went with white line front and rear sways. They were fairly easy to install. The rear was definitely easier than the front because the front is just kind of awkward. You actually have to, well, you don't have to, but it's recommended that you remove the frunk because it's easier to pull the sway bar out from top and then, pulls it right out there. And then you can put the new sway bar in through the top, just place it, and then of course, connect it to your sway bar and links from underneath. Right now, I have the front set to full stiffness or hard, whatever you want to say, and the rear to medium soft. I am using stock end links right now, which some people will say otherwise, but I'm only planning a handful of autocross events and some spirited driving here and there, so I'm going to use the end links until maybe they bend, and then I will get some new ones. Over the last week that I've driven my car with the new sway bars installed, I am so excited for the handling improvements that just upgrading the sway bars have done. The car hugs way tighter with far less body roll, which is nice because if you watched my autocross video last year, then you know that under body roll, I rub fender pretty bad and it's loud and sounds terrible. So just having that stiffness is awesome. Not to mention in tight cornering, the car just feels so much more planted, which is exactly what I wanted to get out of upgrading the sway bars. So this is by far the upgrade that I'm most excited about for this year. And I just can't wait to continue to learn how the car is going to handle and, the best way to drive the car. Next thing on the list that we did this winter is we installed a front strut bar. Now, I'm going to be using my iPhone's flash because it's kind of dark in here. It may look like a TRD front strut bar, but it's actually a replica of the TRD front strut bar. I picked this up from somebody named Marc in Germany. I'll put his information in the description if you're interested. It is a direct replica of the TRD front strut bar. Great quality, solid price, and overall really like how it looks. Now, for those of you who may not know about MR2s, most of the front strut bars, not all of them, but most of them, in order to run them, you have to take the frunk plastic off, unless you're okay hacking at the frunk plastic. That is what I opted to do. So I cut out exactly what I needed to be able to mount the front strut bar to the strut mount. And then I lined my cutting job with a carbon fiber looking door protector trim, essentially, just to give it a much kind of cleaner look. And I am very happy with how it turned out. Now I will say I kind of messed up by putting front and rear sway bars on as well, because I don't really know what difference this is making. I probably should have driven it before doing that, but I didn't. Overall though, again, just stiffening up the chassis. I also added some cool little stickers here because, well, not really a race car, but you know. All right, the next big upgrade, or bigger upgrade performance-wise, I suppose. No real good way to film this, but I upgraded the brake pads and rotors. I went with EBC yellow stuff for the pads as kind of a daily driver / autocross hybrid pad. And then I just went with EBC OE rotors. So pretty much OEM based rotors, because the car's light enough and I'm not like tracking it or anything. So I figured that would be a nice upgrade. I am just about done with the bedding period of the brake pads, and I'm really impressed. It stops really well, a little bit more brake dust, but I think it'll be quite an upgrade from, you know, just stock pads with stock rotors. So those are the big upgrades that I did this winter that I think are going to directly impact performance. There were some cosmetic stuff that I also changed that I will show you just to keep you updated on the build. Now, please forgive me because my wheels are filthy from driving the car in the rain, but I got some RPF1 center caps. I wasn't running center caps last year, but I finally got some. You can't really tell on camera, but the center caps are, you know, they match the wheel pretty well, but the Enki logo is actually like a carbon fiber design, so very subtle. I also had my RPF1s ceramic coated by a good friend, Jeff. He used some McKees to, again, ceramic coat them because I'm going to be having a lot more brake dust. Just make it easier to clean the wheels during the summer. Loving the center caps. I think it makes a world of difference than seeing like a rusty hub behind there. Only thing left to do is to paint the calipers at some point, but I have no idea what color I'm going to do. Probably just black, but center caps go a long way. Another cosmetic fix was my driver's side facelift headlight. So before, I really didn't do a good job sealing this one, and there was quite a bit of gap between the fender and the headlight. So I removed the headlight, I reopened it up, which is always scary, readjusted it and closed it. And now the gap is a lot more manageable. Small cosmetic fix, one that I really noticed, but still loving these facelift headlights. Such a good move if you're looking for projectors and just a upgraded OEM look. For those of you who don't know much about the hardtops on the MR2 Spider, they are known to eventually start to rattle. That's because just from spirited driving, eventually the brackets just get kind of loose. So towards the end of last year, brackets were pretty loose. It rattled over certain bumps. So one of the first things I did before putting the hardtop back on was I loosened the brackets, readjusted them, tightened them, and then reinstalled the hardtop to make sure there was a good connection in the 4 sections that you actually attach the hardtop to. And so far, rattles have gone away and night and day better. This next update is super silly. See this antenna? Well, when I bought it, it was black, and then it kind of like turned brown because of too much sunlight. So I sanded it and repainted it black. Very minor change, but the brown was really driving me crazy. It's much better now. Last but not least, we are in the interior. And really the only change I made here was at the end of last year, I upgraded to this D&D Performance weighted shift knob. And before I had like a knockoff TRD eBay one, and so it was a little bit longer. So my shift boot wasn't set up to meet at the bottom of the shift knob. So what I did was I took off the center console. I use a rubber band from underneath to hold the shift boot in the right spot. And I just adjusted that rubber band up so that the bottom of the shift knob met the top of the shift boot perfectly, just to make it look cleaner. Other than that, I haven't done anything else to the interior besides cleaned it, threw a vanilla scented air freshener in it, and I don't really have any interior plans. I'm just going to try to keep it clean and enjoy driving it. To be completely honest, that wraps up the upgrades. I haven't done anything under the hood yet. Still running stock 1ZZ, stock headers, stock exhaust. Honestly, I'm really torn about what I want to do from an exhaust perspective because I would like a little bit more sound. I would like a little bit more performance, although, you know, headers and exhaust are only going to get you so much, especially with the 1ZZ. My biggest fear is that I'm worried about droning. I don't want to hear a loud exhaust when I'm on the freeway. I do plan on putting as much miles on this thing as I can this year. Just really enjoy driving it. And so, torn on the exhaust. If you want to give some recommendations, feel free to drop comments, but don't know what I'm going to do there. That said, under the hood is still completely stock. It's planning on staying that way. The 1ZZ is completely healthy, just shy of 52,000 miles, and I'm planning on driving it with the 1ZZ until, well, it blows, because I've got a lot to learn. The 1ZZ is healthy. I don't have the money to be swapping in a 2ZZ or a K20, and I'm just not even going to think about it right now. Maybe an exhaust system, maybe an intake. That's pretty much it. Anyhow, we don't have too many plans this year because I did a good amount of upgrades over the winter, but we'll see. I've got some other things that I want to do, but I don't know if it'll happen this year. As far as driving the car, autocross season is coming up. Now we are supposed to get some snow tomorrow, which is, they're saying 1 to 2 inches, but I'm a little worried because, again, it comes down to salt. The snow isn't the problem, it's the salt that we use. So hopefully they don't lay down more salt. But car show season, like Cars and Coffees and stuff, come back usually mid to end of April. And then I have 2 autocross events on my calendar that I'm planning to register for and drive at. Very excited to see how the car handles. Very excited to just get more seat time, learn the ropes. Anyhow, that's pretty much it. A lot of smaller upgrades, but ones that I'm really excited for. Completely changed the car and the driving experience. Can't wait to drive it. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for tuning in if you watch this. If you're new to the channel, I'm not really trying to become a car YouTuber. I'm just documenting my journey, learning more about cars and the build for this MR2. If you're into that sort of thing, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you guys soon enough in the next video.